Welcome in, everybody. Little bit different thing happening tonight. Uh, my camera's back for one. It's been a minute. Um, so I've got my friend Grayson here. He wasn't able to join us the other night. Whenever Kevin and I, or the other morning actually, because it was a morning stream this week. When Kevin and I did our,
Engagements.
whenever Kevin and I were doing our NFL predictions, but he kind of wanted to join in with us. Um, so he went ahead and put his predictions in, and we are going to discuss them a little bit here. Let me see, get a couple things ready here. Get this prepared for the end here, and get my uh, get, switch that for just a moment while I get uh, this link shared out real quick, guys. Sorry about that. Kind of doing this a little on the fly tonight. Uh, so, okay. And come over here, post in there, post link in there. All right. So let me get this page pulled back up. All right. So, guys, as you can see, Grayson here has added in his picks for this week. We're gonna, just like Kevin and I did, we're gonna go through each game one at a time here, go over his picks, see what his reasonings for picking that team was in comparison to what Kevin and I did. If you haven't seen that discussion, feel free to go back and watch the last stream from my Kevin's Mech Warrior stream. It'll actually be the video right above this in the current playlist if you're watching in the playlist. Um, and then, as you can see, I have went ahead and got the rest of this spreadsheet filled out in preparation for the rest of the season. So we will be good to go. Next week's picks will be, next week's picks will be filled in next Thursday afternoon before the Thursday night game starts for that Commanders Packers game. So stay tuned. That'll be a Mech Warrior stream, or it should be another Mech Warrior stream as we continue on in that campaign with a new DLC dropping Wednesday afternoon. We got a stream in just before it where we did these other picks. So let's get right into it. Uh, as we are currently sitting, the Cowboys Eagles game is currently going on. I didn't get home until about an hour ago. Um, but the Cowboys Eagles is currently sitting in a weather delay. I don't know how much longer that weather delay is, but uh, the score, I believe, is currently 24-20 Eagles, if I remember correctly. I could be slightly wrong on that. I've been kind of bouncing between watching it and trying to get this rolling. But welcome in, Grayson. This will be the first
Hello.
YouTube, what first of my YouTube streams that you've been in.
Yes,
So
I've been
well,
in a couple of your Twitch streams.
yeah, you've been in a couple of
Definitely not
those.
saying things that you wouldn't want to hear your children hear. Anyways,
It's, anyways, so Cowboys Eagles. I believe just like me and Kev, this one was kind of be a straightforward. Um, I will say that Kevin believed that this was going to be a blowout. I did not. I figured it was going to be a relatively close game. Knowing that the Cowboys' offense was healthy, I figured they'd be able to at least kind of keep up a little bit in points, keep putting out some points to kind of make this a closer game. Obviously, with what has transpired in the beginning of the game tonight, it's definitely been a closer game than I initially would have predicted. But let's go ahead and get your initial opinions before this game started. What was your thought process on the
um,
Eagles winning over the
well,
Cowboys?
The Eagles have a better offensive line. They have arguably better wide receivers. They have the best running back in the NFL. They have a top half. I don't know. I'm pretty conservative on Jalen Hurts, but he's still a top 10 to 15 QB in the league. They have so many talents on defense back, and Dallas not only just lost Micah Parsons, but like their defense just isn't really the same names that it's been for years and years and years. Dallas always has these big name guys, whether it was Sean Lee or Demarcus Lawrence or Micah Parsons. They always had some big name. They don't really have that this year. I initially expected them to get killed in this game, but I did say to you before we started streaming this that I kind of felt like they were the Lions from the early 2010s, where they just have a bunch of really good offensive players but no real great defensive players, and that's kind of what this game has shown. Good
Yeah,
receivers, decent quarterback, good offensive line, but they just don't have the defensive reinforcements necessary to hold on and beat big teams.
yeah. So now that the game has started, as you said, we've seen so far in this game, the Cowboys defense definitely has not really been able to stop the Eagles at all. Like there's up to this point, the entire first half, Eagles three drives straight down the field for touchdowns. Two on the legs of Jalen Hurts and one on the legs of Saquon Barkley. And
Yeah, there was
then
no controversy about Jalen Hurts taking touchdowns from Saquon Barkley near the goal line.
and then uh, as they came back out after the half, the Cowboys did manage to get a stop, prevented them from getting a touchdown, but the Eagles did get, I think it was like a 58-yard field goal to extend their lead a little bit. And with the Cowboys, they had two touchdowns drives followed by two field goals. The their third drive, they got stopped on third and long, kicked a long field goal as well. I don't remember the exact yardage. And then right before half, with under a minute to play, they just walked straight down the field on the Eagles to get in field goal range to bring it into a 1 point game. So,
If I was an Eagles fan right now, I would be a bit worried about. And I love Saquon Barkley. I like the Eagles. I hate Eagles fans. But if I was an Eagles fan right now, my biggest concern would be that not only did Jalen Carter get thrown out of the game, but since Jalen Carter's gotten thrown out of the game, they haven't seen been able to produce the same natural pressure at all. And that paired with the fact that Dallas has been able to score points and has really been able to put up drive after drive after drive
that
with consistent offensive
and
output is a bit of a concern.
that in the unlike the last couple of years, Dallas was actually able to get a run game going tonight.
That,
Um,
yeah, which
I
I
think
think
part of
was to
that
be expected,
was I think part of that was definitely Jalen Carter getting himself ejected. Um, but
but
also
still,
something that I didn't quite realize because I hadn't really paid a whole lot of attention to the Eagles in the over the off season. But they kind of touched base on during the game. The commentators touched on the Eagles actually lost a lot of their defensive starters over this offseason.
I think that the
Uh,
reason why we don't really acknowledge it is because for some reason everybody just kind of lets the Eagles draft all of the Georgia and Alabama defensive players that they could possibly want. So they just never seem to have a fall off. But yeah, this is definitely
um,
not. This is the big thing for me if I was a Cowboys fan is that Javonte Williams is really working. Like you can see those legs churning at that has not stopped. He's had several runs where he's been met at the line of scrimmage and he's just able to push the pile 2 or 3, 4, 5 yards, and that's really helping Dallas.
so,
You good, Adrian?
yeah, trying to figure out where to set something. I got too much stuff going on my desk here. Still haven't even taken my dinner plates upstairs. Shame on me. I'll deal with it after the live. Anyways,
But
but the other thing that's happened so far in this game, since it is currently ongoing, there's only been one turnover in this game, which the Eagles got on the Cowboys right just before the um, weather delay started. Dallas was down there, I think, inside the 10-yard line, getting ready to score again, and Eagles caused a fumble and recovered the fumble. So that's another thing to kind of keep an eye on as this game continues, because as we all know, turnovers can determine games. Like
yes, especially in
more
running
times than not,
situations.
yeah, more times than not, whoever wins the turnover battle wins the game.
Yeah. I don't think that there's like a whole lot. If I was gonna touch on this game, I'd rather wait till it's completed to touch on it anymore. 'Cause there's not really.
Oh yeah, yeah. I was just
I'm impressed by the Cowboys' offensive line play from what I watched, but I did get distracted and I went and played with some friends, so I did step away from the game. But like, offensive lines looked pretty good so far, and that's a good omen for Dak Prescott, who's going to need all the protection that he can get.
it's but yeah, I just wanted to kind of throw in what has
It'd be a
happened
lot
so
more fun
far.
if I'd been able to been here yesterday or
Yeah.
yeah, yesterday,
Well, Wednesday.
2 days ago, Wednesday. Yeah. Okay.
Or well, no,
So,
no. Yeah, yeah, Wednesday. Wednesday morning is when we. So yeah,
hmm,
yesterday morning.
all right. You want to move on to game number two?
Yes, let's go ahead. So you also went with the Chiefs, like Kevin and I did. Um, I think this game could actually end up being a little bit close. I do expect the Chiefs to win, but this is being played in Sao Paulo, Brazil, on the same field that the Eagles and Packers played on in Week One last year,
So
which
watch out.
was a very difficult field to play on. People were
Hopefully
struggling
it
to
has
stay on
improved
their,
a little bit.
hopefully, but people
It
were,
also, if I'm not
everybody
mistaken,
was
rained
constant.
that night,
Yeah, I think it had rained earlier that day, something like that.
and it
So it was
changed the
like,
field
yeah,
conditions even more.
yeah. So it was just like everybody, like people were struggling to find the right cleats to be able to stay on their feet, and so I think the field can play a factor in this game. So
I expect the Chiefs to win because honestly, it's very hard to pick against the Chiefs.
it is.
It's just they win so much and they
They
win
they just
perfectly.
they just seem to find ways to win, and that, in the NFL that you just have
They
to.
have very much evolved from the fun team of the late 2010s and early 2020s to just another version of the Montana 49ers or the Patriots Brady where they're very boring to watch but then they win. But I do think that the Chargers have a roster that I think that of all like if the Chargers beat them this weekend, I would not be shocked purely because the number one
Okay.
thing that the Chargers have to do in this game is
Sorry
they
guys,
have to find a way.
I got the game behind me, and I was checking. They've just put an update out. Warm ups to resume in about 2 minutes, with play resuming at 11:30. So, um, uh, so if that's why you kind of see me peeking around my screen here, just peeking at the TV, saw something going on. So, but I was correct on that score, 24-20. But go ahead and continue. Shu. Sorry about that.
But
I
yeah,
was.
if the Chargers, because the big issue for most teams is that they want to run between the tackles and they want to push that power formation. They want to get in, especially against like bet good teams. The problem is that the Chiefs have this handy dandy guy named Chris Jones, and he has made hundreds of millions of dollars on being really good at stopping teams from running between the tackles. If the Chargers can create a situation where they're getting like they can get to that edge and they can set the edge against this Chiefs defense, then they will be very successful because I think that they have a deep room of running backs paired with I think Justin Herbert's still a top 10 quarterback. His postseason play has been really bad, but he's a very good regular season QB.
Yeah, he's a solid QB. I will say that
It's
Justin
just he
Herbert's
makes a
not a
lot of
bad QB
bad
by any
just his
means.
playoff performances have been really really horrible, and that really hurts him coming into the season because every time the last time you saw him was really ugly, and then he comes back and he puts up really good numbers in the regular season.
Yeah.
And I
Uh,
expect him to do that again, but I can't pick against the Chiefs even if I'm still kind of worried about the Chiefs wide receiver room, and also if whether or not Travis Kelsey has hit the wall yet,
yeah. So I
which
was
I
actually getting ready to
think he
ask you because I
has.
because I know you are not very high on Travis. Because I know you don't really care for Travis Kelsey that much.
I find him to be very stat pad heavy, and that he's more of a because they feed the tight end a lot there in Kansas City, and he's been a very good product of that, and also helps just because he's got very reliable hands, and he's done what every tight end should do best, which is he gets to the soft spot of the field and catches the ball when it's thrown his way. I think
So
this is going to be. I don't think the Chiefs really have the replacement for him right now. So while I do think that he's not going to be as good as years prior, I still think he's going to put up Pro Bowl to All Pro caliber numbers just because
he's gonna get fed.
there's very few tight ends that get fed as much as he does. Especially that they're not going to have Rasheed Rice for this game. He's going to be pretty crucial to their offensive game plan because unless I'm wrong, the Chiefs still don't have like a bell cow running back.
I don't
So yeah,
remember who their running back is off the top of my head.
I
Um,
expect him to be fine. I expect the Chargers defense to be stingy, but just I don't think they have all the pieces yet. I
that's
think
fair.
that the Chargers could be a team where you check back in 3 years and Harbaugh's done his magic again, and they turn into like the 49ers from the early 2010s where there's just talent everywhere. But for right now, I'm just gonna pick the. I can't not pick the Chiefs. Do you do score predictions?
We didn't do score predictions. I'm not quite good enough for score predictions just yet. I'm still kind of because I don't. I got to get into watching more of the games during the season, and it's a little hard for me, especially with me always working on Sundays. So I'm looking about actually uh upping my NFL Plus subscription to where I can go and watch
Catch all the
replays.
games and like record and replays and stuff. Yeah,
Yeah.
I do that.
Um. So
Honestly, I might actually kick off. I've thought about starting a YouTube channel. I've thought about it. I might actually do that, and I might try to drag you into watching more college ball so I can talk about that.
well,
Um,
depending on what you do, it's we'll talk about that after the stream. We'll talk about off
I'm
stream.
just kidding. I'm just
Uh,
spitballing here.
that's
Anyways,
fair.
yeah, it's gonna be. I think it's
Um,
gonna be the Chiefs. I think it's gonna be close, but I think the Chiefs are just
yeah,
gonna win by
I
like
think I think this.
percentage, one score
I
to
can
like
definitely see
20
this.
points.
Yeah, I can definitely see this being a close game, especially with how just weird this field can be. I can see it really affecting this game. Um, I'm curious. I want to go back to Travis Kelsey for just a second. I think you kind of had the same impression I did. Like towards the end of last year, it felt to me like it almost seemed like he was kind of like
Phoning it
over,
in.
just yeah, like he was done playing, like he was tired of playing.
I
Do you
think
think he's going to be
that
like that again this year, or do you think that's kind of
I think he's gonna play well. The fact that I know that this is probably gonna piss everybody off. He is going to marry Taylor Swift, and he seems to really love her. And I think that he's kind of reached that point where he's made more than enough money. She has more money than she knows what to do with. I expect him to play 2 more years because I think the Chiefs are gonna want to go out in this draft and trade up and get an elite tight end prospect, but I don't really think that that's there in this class. So I think they might convince him to just to push it out for like 1 or 2 more years until a Luke Reynolds or one of these young guys like a Kenyon Sadiq, like these prospects that are very talented, that are projected to be these top be like these are like the top caliber tight ends that they're going to have to make a trade up for. But I don't see Kelsey retiring and leaving the Chiefs out in the cold, or the Chiefs I don't see him running out on the team like that. He has too much history with Andy Reid and too much history with Patrick Mahomes to just kind of quit. But I
Right.
do think that we are going. I think he's going to not be as good as years past, but I think that the
But do you think
defense
he's
will
going to
be the
be
best.
as? Do you think he's going to be more focused than he seemed at the end of last year?
Yes, but
Okay.
I don't think he's. I just Father Time's undefeated, and his numbers declined as the last season went. I don't. I think that he's going to have a healthy spike this season, just because Rasheed Rice is not there, so they're going to have to scheme him and Xavier Worthy and their other receivers the ball more. So I
Yeah,
think he's going to have an uptick, but I don't think that his play is going to massively improve from last year. I just think it's going to be a bit better.
that's fair.
I'm picking him to be out of the league, and like I think he's going to retire in the next year or two.
Yeah, I mean, I could see him going in the next couple years as well. Let's go ahead and jump over to Game Three, Dolphins at Colts. Again,
Uh,
this is another one where we all went Dolphins. To me, this one was very easy, an easy pick. I think the
just
Colts have done
Dolphins are going to
some.
boat race them.
Yeah, yeah,
It's just how it's going to. I like
the Colts have done
unless
some. The Colts have done some
unless.
okay.
Sorry.
The Colts have gradually like done some small things to kind of improve a little bit, but I don't think they've done enough.
If
Um,
the Colts offensive line can do literally anything for I think the Daniel Jones gets a I think Daniel Jones is a bit better than what he gets credit for because I think the Giants offensive line was shit the entire time he was there.
I mean, yeah.
Also, I don't know what you feel about
I,
cursing, sorry.
oh no,
I
I.
didn't ask you before we started the stream. But yeah,
My channel is
their
Rage
offensive line
Gaming. This is
the
not a
Giants
for
will
kids
not block
channel.
to save their life.
If you don't like
They do
cursing,
not have
get
a
the
good
fuck out.
O-line. Uh,
Just kidding.
Shane
Well, not
Steichen is their
really.
head coach, and he's considered an offensive-minded head
If
coach.
you don't like cursing,
That's
this
why they
channel is
went
not
out
for
and
you.
took
Let's just put
Tyler
it that way.
Warren. I think their weapons are good, and I think if they can play ball control and they can feed Jonathan Taylor and they can scheme the ball, especially. And look, I'm a Penn State fan. You know I'm going to be high on Tyler Warren. The guy is just a fucking. He's a physical freak. Gronk himself has compared himself to him. That's a pretty high standard to me. I don't think he's going to
Yeah.
be perfect this season, but if they can get him the ball and they can get Jonathan Taylor the ball and they can just move the football efficiently, I think that this could be closer just because they can play keep away with the Dolphins. But yeah, I
Yeah. So
Dolphins by like 20. I don't
the
think that the Colts have I just don't think the Colts have the defensive
defense,
prowess that
yeah.
they used to have.
Yeah. So for me, this really came down to I trust a healthy Tua in week one more than I do Daniel Jones any day.
I like Daniel Jones
I mean,
a lot more than
like
most people. He's
I
just
don't think he's complete garbage, but I
he's a
don't think
solid he's a
he's
stopgap
solid.
quarterback.
To me, he's a
He's like
solid backup. I don't see
he's
him
like
as
a
a starting
he's
QB, in my
he's a
opinion.
my he's like in the tier between AJ McCarron and like late career Jay Cut. Like honestly, he's kind of between well, who would be a good comparison? AJ McCarron and Jameis Winston. He's somewhere between those two, where he's like if he's starting, you're not expecting a whole lot, but if he comes out and when you win the game, you're like, oh, that's pretty nice.
Yeah. But
Although
yeah,
Anthony Richardson's just been a complete and total failure, and it's kind of
yeah.
hilarious. I'm not gonna lie, I thought it was a terrible pick at the time. I was right. I also thought Will Levis was massively overrated because he played at Kentucky, and I was also right about that.
Well,
Okay, but
that game's
there's not
pretty
really much to talk
straightforward.
about here.
Let's go
If
ahead and
Tua
jump.
gets knocked out, this is gonna be a boat race.
Yeah. Uh, let's go ahead and jump over to Steelers at Jets. Another one that we all agreed on. Um, so this one, the Jets showed with new head coach and remind me, I'm drawing a blank on
I
his name.
can't remember his name, dude. I'm
But it was the Lions
I'm a
defensive
Jets
it was
fan.
the Lions defensive coordinator last year, and I'm just drawing a blank on his name. But
Last time was
he showed some promise. It seemed like he was doing some good things over there. Um, but when you have freaking Justin Fields as your starting QB,
Justin Fields. is the most 50-50 NFL QB I have ever seen. In one game, he'll go out there and he'll throw 360 yards and three touchdowns and three interceptions, and the next game he'll come out and throw 62 yards and five picks, and you'll be like, "What?" He's like a much more athletic. He's just a more athletic Jameis Winston.
Yeah. But then there's also just I think uh, Aaron Rodgers' knowledge of Justin Fields' play is going to be invaluable to the Steelers in preparing for that
He never
game.
played for the Steelers last year. I mean, the Steelers is
Well,
you mean the Steelers' knowledge of Justin Fields from last year?
well, that plus uh, Aaron Rodgers' knowledge of absolutely
Football and the Jets'
dog
teams.
washing him at whenever he was with the Bears over and over and
Um,
over again.
that's a bit of a weird comparison, but I'll let it slide. I think Aaron Rodgers is look. This is going to be a game that is won entirely because the Steelers are just better than the Jets.
Yeah, honestly,
It's the Jets.
I think the Jets will
They're
play
a garbage fire, and the franchise has just been a garbage fire for decades. Outside of that 2 year split in the 2010, in the late 2000s, early
like
2010s,
I think the Jets will play a decent game for what they can do. I just don't think they're gonna hold up against the
they're in a building
Steelers.
year. They have a bunch of really young, highly drafted offensive linemen that they're going to want to develop this year and get playing time. Um, I think Aaron Rodgers is washed. I don't think he's going to have a very good game, and if he does, I'll be surprised. But it seems like he's been mentally checked out of football since he left Green Bay, and even then, at the end, he seemed pretty done with it then. But
Yeah, I think
yeah,
he's gonna
this is going
want
to be one.
to. I think this is gonna be a season where Rodgers.
Oh, you think he's going to go full Favre and just have
Well,
one last really good year?
I I don't know if he's gonna go full far, but I think he's gonna. I think he's gonna want to go out on somewhat of a positive note and just kind of do something better than what he did with the Jets. I think.
I think that, but yeah, I think this is going to be a low-scoring game. I think unless DK can get open and like they actually play vertically, but I don't know if A-Rod can still throw down the field aggressively like he used to. But
Well,
like
I think
I'm
part
picking
of
the
I think part of why Rodgers played so bad in New York was the offensive
because they
line
were set the
issues.
entire time.
Uh, uh, no comment. But
But yeah, I this is going to be a defense. I think that the Steelers are just going to defensively suffocate them. It's going to be a
yeah,
low-scoring matchup.
yeah, pretty
If
much.
Justin Fields can come out and do what Justin Fields does at his best, where he can use his legs very aggressively and he can find his receivers and like he can actually hit an open man for once, I think the Jets could pull. I picked the Jets to upset them originally, but then I kind of thought about it and was like, well, the defense is going to be healthy again this year. They're going to have Cam Hayward and I can't remember if Cam Hayward's still holding out. I don't think he is. They have Cam Hayward and T.J. Watt. This defense has always been good. They added even more depth. They'll be fine.
Yeah, I just
They do need to figure out
unless
what the hell they're doing with their tight end room, though. It's a disaster. They have way too many tight end ones. Why
well,
the hell did you pay Muth just to trade for Jonnu Smith?
uh,
And you still have Darnell Watt. I don't think his first name's Darnell. They have the tall Georgia kid that's like 6'7".
well, I think we've pretty much touched on everything we were going to be able to touch on that game. Let's go ahead and jump over to game
Yeah,
5. Panthers at Jags.
I
Um,
like Bryce Young.
this
Can I
one
answer this
was
one?
well, I was just say this one. You and I agreed. Kevin went against us here. Um, so go ahead and
They're my favorite team. I like them a lot. The defense is still a train wreck. There's no remaining defensive veterans from when the Panthers were really good last. This defense is going to be a three or like genuinely the defense is going to take 2 or 3 more years to get where they need to go. Offensively, the Tetairoa McMillan looks like he's going to be pretty good, but trading away Adam Thielen, who seemed to be a locker room guy because they got Hunter Renfro, is a very confusing choice. Especially if Renfro doesn't pan out, that's going to look very bad. But yeah, I think Travis Hunter's a very good wide receiver. I don't know how great he is. He's not a tackling defensive back by any means, but he's still going to be an interception machine. The the Jags just have a bunch of talent on offense, and I think that they are going to be able to outscore the Panthers in this game. And that's what it comes down to it. I like Bryce Young. I think he's going to take another step forward this season. I think the offense is going to get a bit better, but there's still a bunch of there's just a bunch of I don't know what's going on defense here for me to pick them to win against a team that has as many offensive weapons as the Jags.
Yeah. So when it came to this game, Kevin and I both felt that neither one of these teams has been like super great in the last few years. But we
The
also,
Panthers have been in hell ever since Cam's shoulder broke ever since that hit from TJ Watt basically ruined his ability to throw a football, and they've been spinning the wheels for the past like 8 years.
but
The Jags at least have been in the playoffs recently.
so but Kev thought the Panthers had shown more flashes. I thought the Jags have shown more flashes. Personally, I think Trevor Lawrence is a more reliable quarterback than Bryce Young.
Trevor
Um,
Lawrence was really bad last year for a guy that's getting paid as much money as he is. He really
I
I'm
mean,
picking the I Trevor Lawrence has got to have that 1 year.
yeah,
He needs to have a breakout year this season,
yeah,
or he's going to
this is
be on
definitely a
the
prove it year
he's
for
going to be a
him.
bust. This kind of is this guy just and it's only a bust because he was the first overall pick, which just means he's kind of mid compared to other busts that have been high quarterback picks. But he's
Yeah,
aggressively mid for a guy that I watched shred everyone at the collegiate level.
yeah, he definitely has
He
not
was
lived
pretty
up to
much
the
just
reputation that
crowned as
he
the
came
first
in
overall
with.
pick, and everybody
Yeah,
knew, and like he just has not matched that hype. Bryce
yeah,
Young did kind of manage to, turn back off, then turn back on switch last season. Do I think it's going to help this year? Yes, but the offensive line, like, there's just too many question marks for the Panthers right now. If
yeah.
the defense is good, cool. If it's not,
I mean, this
then
game could easily go either way, in my opinion. I think it could be a very close game, or it could be a blowout, just depending on how each team ends up playing. I don't think either of these teams are going to be that great this year. But I think the Jags have a little bit higher ceiling than the Panthers
Jags
right
can be
now.
very good just because of the division that they're in.
Um,
Uh,
but with
yeah,
that,
there's not really much more to touch on here.
yeah, as I say, with that, let's go
Thank
ahead and
God
jump over.
AJ Jansen for still being on the roster.
With that, we are going to jump over to Cardinals at Saints. Again, you and I agreed to Kevin
This is a mid.
going the other way around. I don't remember Kevin's exact. I think it was kind of similar to the Panthers Jags. I think he felt that the Saints had shown more in recent years than the Cards. Whereas I trust Kyler Murray a lot more than the Saints QB.
I still can't believe Tyler Show got drafted. But
So
yeah, I have. You want to start this one off, or do you want me to start this one off?
I've kind of already led into it a little bit. Where are you, what was your reasoning for taking the Cards here? Whereas mine
This is
was
the most
kind of
coin flip matchup because the Saints have the last 2 or 3 years the Saints have just come out and been really hot to start the season off, and then
that is
injuries hit
true.
them and then they fall off a cliff. So that was really on my mind in this game. But I think Tyler Show is trash. I think that the Saints are stuck in the same hell that the Steelers are in, where they're not exactly contenders, but they're not bad enough to get a new to like draft the new savior of the franchise either.
Yeah.
So I think that they're a better overall team than the Cardinals, but I think Kyler Murray. Oh, you want to talk about guys that are really edging on bust status? Kyler Murray has to do something this year. He cannot just keep teasing, or else his clock is going to run out after this season if he doesn't do something better than like the previous few seasons.
Yeah, it's
I
like
think that Tyler McBride's really good. I think that they're going to be very vertical, getting the ball to MHJ and
uh, let me
McBride.
double. Let me remind
If
my.
I'm not wrong, Murray's contract has like he has a very low cut rate, like cut rate. He's way cheaper to cut after this season than he will be for like until his I think his contract extension kicks in. Oh, what's up, Adrian?
Okay, that's right. Yeah, that's why I was. Yeah, okay. So, Saints have um are still rolling out with Spencer Rattler as their starting
Oh,
QB.
even
So
worse, dude, even
so
worse.
that was the big deciding factor because yeah I very much trust um uh
Y'all couldn't bring famous Jameis back. Couldn't bring Crab Legs Boy back.
uh
But yeah, no, the Saints are not. I
yeah
don't think. Look, if the Saints win this game, it's going to be entirely because Alvin Kamara put the entire offense on his back again,
yeah.
and
Hmm.
he's slowly running out of time.
I
I really hope he gets traded somewhere to where he can actually win something of value.
I think he I think it's more that he's quickly running out of time. I think he's losing steam fast.
He's getting old. I mean, he's already like in year 8 now.
Let
That's a
me.
long time for a running back. Like Derrick Henry and Saquon Barkley are like the only two running backs I can see that'll be going well over 10 years plus as still consistent contributors.
So Alvin Kamara just turned 30 in July.
Yeah, that's kind of up there for a star running back.
Oh
And I
yeah,
really like him. He's really good.
and
He,
it
he
doesn't
runs like
help
a
that
rock.
it doesn't help that he's a small running back and
He's a
smaller
strong
running.
receiving and elusive running back.
Yeah, like well I'm
The
just
best
like
year I really liked it when they had Mark Ingram in there as well because he could take up the power run move like when they
yeah
need to
yeah
run up
yeah
big boys sets he could do that.
yeah
But yeah, there's
um
not really much more to talk about in this game. I
yeah
if the Cardinals win, like I think the Cardinals are going to win, but if the Saints win, I wouldn't be surprised. This is
yeah
probably the most 50-50 game for me on this entire thing.
yeah. So like I said, I very much would rather rely on Kyler Murray to win me a football game than Spencer Rattler. That was my primary reason for taking the cards here.
Okay.
Um,
This game, ooh, this one, I have things to say about this one, even though we all agreed on the same team.
yeah, so this one was um a no-brainer for me and Kev. It was yeah, the Giants aren't gonna stand a chance in hell.
They
Because the Giants have just gone to absolute shite. So I will go ahead and throw it right to you since you seem to have a lot to say, whereas Kevin and
I
I
don't
were
have a
like,
lot to
we're
say.
just like, yeah, this is we're just gonna skim right through this of Commanders all day, no questions asked. Um, what you got?
I don't think the Giants are going to win this game, but there is one thing that I'm very high on, and that it might, and this is going to help them. It's definitely going to win them games later down the season as long as they don't get hurt. The Giants might have the best defensive line in the league. They have Dexter Lawrence, who's an elite defensive tackle. They have Brian Burns, who's an elite defensive end. They have Kayvon Thibodeau, who's a very good defensive end, and they just spent the third overall pick on another edge rusher. That's a lot of defensive line talent, and it might and it's the problem is that
It'll
yeah they
definitely
have
help them,
that
that's for
that front
sure.
five is really great.
But
The
their back
secondary
end
is
is
complete. I have no idea what their secondary is going to look like. It's going to be a defense where if they can get to the quarterback before he can get the ball off, awesome. But I
otherwise.
don't think that that's going to happen a whole lot.
I don't think it's gonna
Offensively,
save them enough. I don't think it's gonna save them
offensively
enough.
is just I don't know what they're doing at quarterback. Like I know he's a day one starter. I don't know why. And Jackson Dart looked good in the preseason. I have
You
no
know what?
idea why they brought in Jameis Winston and Russell Wilson. I could get Russ because Russ can be a mentor figure because him and Dart play a very similar style of football. I have no idea why Jameis is there.
Let's see. Giants coach Brian Dable named Russell Wilson as New York's starting quarterback for
I
2025.
think that that's a mistake. I think that this is a throwaway year and that they should be giving Jackson Dart the helm early and let him take these punishing losses quicker, especially because I think he's a guy that wants to be a competitor. And some QBs are competitive, other QBs aren't. He's the kind of guy where I think he's going to want that level of competition. but I don't know what their offense is just kind of they need to fix the offensive line. I don't really know what's going on with the skill positions. They looks like they have decent wide receivers this year, but I'm not gonna put my name on that. Their tight end room, like Theo Johnson's a very serviceable top. He's like a he's like a solid mid-tier tight end, and they're not paying him very much because he was a mid-round pick. Also, another Penn State tight end. Yeah, baby. He'll be fine. I think that they'll lose this game. The Commanders are just better. But if the Giants like line up and get like 5 or 6 sacks, which I think is a lot, because I think the Commanders are just going to play get the ball out as quickly as possible to our legion of offensive talent. But the Giants are going to be good on the front row. It's just I can't pick them to win this game. It's still going to be a blowout, but
Oh yeah.
if the Giants have a lot of sacks, I wouldn't be surprised. And if something crazy happens, like they can just start forcing turnovers or forcing or just sacking Jaden Daniels, it's going to help out the offense. But yeah,
I mean
the
the
offense
Giants
looks
are
like a
gonna.
disaster.
I mean, it's unlikely that the Giants will lose every game this season. So I mean,
No, no,
there
they're
will
going to
be.
win. They'll win. There will be wins. Absolutely. It's just I don't know why they're have the quarterback room that they do. I don't know
I
why
didn't
they
even
have like
I didn't even
I
realize that Russell Wilson went to the Giants this
like
offseason.
look, I
So
do not like Jackson Dart mainly because I hate Lane Kiffin, but if you're gonna pick him, he's the kind of guy you're gonna want to let get those snaps in now, not later, because he's a guy that's gonna. He's kind of like to me, he's a better version of Will Levis. He's gonna be a boomer or bust prospect.
well,
He's not somebody I think you let graduate up. I think he's somebody you need to be playing now, and since they're not doing it, I'm even lower on them. So yeah, Commanders are gonna win. Giants pass rush is probably gonna look really good.
that,
That's kind
yeah.
of my evaluation of most of their games this season.
Yeah, and I actually had kind of forgot that the Giants did have a fairly decent defensive front. Um,
I'd call that a good defense. I'd say that's probably, especially if Abdul Carter pans out year one, that's going to be a lethal defensive front four.
right, but again, you still have to have something going on in
Everything
the
else on
secondary.
defense,
Yeah.
like they're
Uh,
really gonna. And I think this is going to be a draft where they're going to need to accumulate picks and start investing.
um,
Okay, next game.
so Bucks at Falcons. Um, this one was very close for me. I did end up going Bucks. I gave the Bucks the slight edge here, but I could easily. This one was very much a 50-50 game for me.
I gotta look something up real quick.
Okay. What are you looking up?
If Chris Godwin's healthy or not yet.
Gotcha. Uh, remind me. Godwin's Falcons, right?
No, he's Buccaneers.
Oh, Buccaneers. Okay.
Okay, he's still out. All right, and he's absent from practice as well. That's not really
Uh,
good. He is. That
uh,
was
okay.
the. Wait, how did Kev feel about this game? I don't know if he said what Kev had thought about the pick.
Um, I don't remember off the top of my head what all Kevin's thoughts were on this. I know that he liked the. I think he was kind of similar to me on this one being a close game and giving the Bucks the edge, but I don't remember off the top of my head. Um,
No, Mike Evans is still very. I don't honestly. My hottest take is that I don't think Mike Evans has ever been a truly elite wide receiver in the NFL, but he's always been a top 10 wide receiver throughout his entire career. I think that continues this season. I think he's gonna slow down more and more, but no Chris Godwin means that they're going to be relying on young buck Emeka Ibuka, who should be really good, but I don't think he's going to be as good as Chris Godwin is, especially as that other wide receiver that is really a do-it-all multi-level. Like Mike Evans is a multi-level wide receiver. Chris Godwin is a multi-level wide receiver. Emeka Ibuka, at least in year one, I don't think is ready to be that multi-level wide receiver. And I think that paired with the fact that Michael Penix really needs this win, like the Falcons need this win more than the Bucks do. Because if this, like, Michael Penix needs his coming out party, and this is a really good opportunity to get that.
yeah.
That
So,
paired with it being a
uh,
home game, I think that the Falcons eke this one out just because I don't fully trust what the Bucks throwing the football is going to look like
So
outside of just get the ball to Godwin. I mean, get the ball to Mike Evans.
so uh I didn't realize that Godwin was going to be out on this game. Although I do know that Baker has looked really good the last couple years now, which is
Yes, he has, but
honestly
it's
a very unusual for Baker. Usually it's he looks good one
one
year,
season or one
then
game, bad game, good game, bad game, good game, bad game.
so I mean this could very easily be that year where he slips up, but based off what I've seen, I feel a little bit more comfortable going Baker until I kind of see
I'm not
more
picking this like because of
from.
the quarterback battle. I'm just picking this because I just think the Falcons are going to come out wanting this win more than the Buccaneers are.
I mean that's
And
fair.
sometimes it's
Um,
just down to that.
and that is very much the case. Like I said, to me this one was very 50-50. I had a very hard time deciding this one. Um,
I think of all
I
my
just feel
picks that
like
are going to blow up in
the
my face, this
overall,
is probably the biggest one.
yeah.
Because
So
if the
like,
Bucks could come out and beat the shit out of the Falcons, I wouldn't be surprised.
yeah. So like for me, I could see this being a very close game or one team just coming to play a lot more than the other. Um, I think the
I'm
Bucks
not
have
gonna
the
lie.
slightly better roster, but
Oh,
with
the Bucks
Chris
have the
God,
better roster, I
w-
think,
w-
but with no Chris Godwin,
yeah,
who
I
is
yeah,
has been, I think, the quiet like top three best wide receiver twos in the league.
yeah.
That's
He's
really
been
not
very
good.
good for them, and yeah, I didn't realize that they had that injury there.
I mean,
So
he was out, but at the same time, he was out for most of last year, and Tampa really didn't ail that badly without him.
that's
But
true.
I think having those two wide, like, let me look at last season for them because I didn't really pay a whole lot of attention to the NFL last year, but I'm paying more attention this year,
Yeah.
mainly because you asked me
Um,
to do this show.
well, I wasn't necessarily asking. I just was more so getting wanting your opinion on our picks. But when you threw your stuff in there, I was like, okay, I guess it'll be included then.
Why not? I mean, honestly, me just give it would just be me giving my opinion anyways. They went 10-7 last year. I think they lost Godwin around week 6.
Defenses have come to play in this second half.
I would think so because it's a lot harder for a defense to or offenses to kind of rebound after. I mean, Godwin missed the last 9 games. He missed the last 10 games of the season, and
Now, like outside of that initial field goal coming out of the half, this has been a scoreless game in the second half. It is still 24-20 with 8:26 left in the fourth quarter. Okay.
they were 6-4 in the regular season without him last season, and they went on a long losing streak without him. I think that they'll be more prepared this season, but still, being without probably the guy who the last couple of years has been threatening for that wide receiver one job is really gonna hurt them. I think.
Oh yeah, I mean it's definitely gonna affect them, especially coming into week one. Week one's always difficult to predict because uh, some teams come out really hot and then slow down. Other teams come out a little bit slow and then ramp up. So honestly, this could go. Like I said, this game, especially for me, can go a whole bunch of different ways. But I think we spent
Do we
enough
even
time
need to
on
talk
this.
about the next game? Like, dude, the only honestly, the most interesting thing to me would be if Joe Flacco makes the magic again. I don't think he's going to. I like Joe Flacco. This is just a bad team. Actually, that's not true. This is a team that is very, very much really hurt by the media attention around them at the moment. Paired with the fact that they had a lot of injuries last season and just didn't have a quarterback because Deshaun Groper, Cleveland Watson looked terrible. Uh,
So So with this one,
If
I definitely so
the Bengals are going to
regardless.
win, but I
So
don't think the Browns are going to be as bad as we think they're going to be.
so I think what's going to determine whether or not this is going to be a absolute utter blowout or a somewhat of a blowout is going to be how much the Bengals defense rebounds from last year's utter epic failure of an
They brought in the
performance.
right. I think they made the right hire in Al Golden, who did wonders for Notre Dame's defense last season.
Well, I'm not expecting them to be
But
a shit show like they were
they're
last
just
year,
they. I mean, with
because
how much
it's
off the
very
field stuff there
unexpected
was,
to see for them to be absolute bottom of the NFL 2 years in a row in defense. Like I do not
I
expect
think
it.
Shamar Stewart's the guy that they drafted that only signed very recently. I think him and Hutchinson are not Hutchinson, Trey Hendrickson. I think Hendrickson and him will be a pretty good defensive edge duo, but I don't expect the Bengals defense to even cross halfway. They're gonna have honestly, they're in a very hard point where they're paying three guys so much money that they can't pay any of their off. They can't pay for those defensive skill position players. I think that they're still going to be bad on defense. I just think it's going to be like, oh, they're like the 20. They're just not going to. I don't think they're just going to be as historically terrible as they were
Right.
last year.
I'm not saying it's going to be
They're
a
still going to be really
full.
bad, I think,
Like, yeah, I don't
because they
expect it to be a
hopefully
full
fire Al Golden year
reversal.
one.
Yeah, I don't
But
expect it to be a full reversal, but I do expect them to improve.
which would be really
Um,
hard not to after how bad last year was.
yeah, like I expect them to go from absolute bottom to more closer to
Like
like middle of
30th.
the pack. I
I'd
could.
say bottom
Well,
third or bottom fourth.
well,
Still like, but even a top, even like a 24th ranked defense means they're going to be in the playoffs because this offense is going to put up ridiculous numbers as long
yeah,
as Joe Burrow is healthy.
yeah.
Also, my biggest hot take is it's not really a hot take anymore. He's actually played pretty well. But a
Mm,
couple of years ago, my biggest hot take was that
uh,
Joe Burrow was massively overrated, but he's actually been really good the last 2 years, so I can't
that
say
might
that as
be
much.
part of why the Eagles have slowed down.
No Saquon?
No, Dickerson, they're one of their
Oh,
linemen.
offensive line Landon Dickerson's out.
Yeah,
Yike.
I saw him kind of go down hard a little earlier. Um, but they just showed him in more back pain than what he was in earlier. Walking back to the
Tent.
uh, no, I think he was walking back to the locker room to be examined in the locker room.
Yeah, but this game is very much. I think that we're kind of forgetting that the Browns actually have a pretty okay roster, but this is just. I don't think this is a winnable game. They'll have winnable games down the
There's too big of a
stretch.
question mark at quarterback for me for
If
the Brown.
Flacco just comes out and does what he did, does what Flacco does, which means he's going to throw two touchdowns, one interception for 225 yards, they're going to lose this game. If anything, this would be one of those games where I would let a guy like Dylan Gabriel, who is a gunslinger, who's a very aggressive, has a very aggressive arm. This would be a game where I'd say, go show your stuff, because this is the kind of defense that he would thrive against. But yeah, I don't think
Yeah,
Flacco's going to do much.
yeah.
He's just going to be your
The
basic
Bengals are
game
just
manager.
gonna put
Just
up
go
too many
scoreless.
points on offense. The Browns aren't gonna be able to hold up.
Yeah.
Let's jump over to the
On the
Raiders at the
down,
Pats
yeah.
here. Um,
Raiders grind them into the dust. It's
so
gonna be all Ashton Genty all the time, baby.
so unfortunately, Kevin's not here for you to rag on him here. He is a stinky Pats fan. Um,
I don't hate. I
so
mean, hey man, as long as he's still a Pats fan after Brady left, that's fine.
yeah, so he
If he had
is.
become a Buccaneers fan, I would have had a problem with him.
But yeah, so he didn't think that the Pats were gonna win, but he wants the Pats to win, so that was more
I
his
mean,
reasoning for picking the Pats here. But
Drake May will probably play pretty good, but they're
he
just
did flat
massively
out
out.
he did flat
Go
out
ahead.
say that the Pats have struggled the last few years. Um, so he does recognize that the Pats are not.
Odds are very low.
Yeah. Um,
Yeah, I think the Raiders just are gonna out. They're just gonna dominate. I think this is what Pete Carroll likes to do, and it was very odd seeing the it was very odd for a few years watching the Seahawks go away from that running style to try to feed Russell Wilson more, especially with how toxic that situation ended up being. But yeah, I think this is just going to be your classic ground and pound Pete Carroll offense, where it's entirely based around the bell cow and a short and vertical passing attack. But yeah,
Uh,
it's just going to be. I think that the Patriots are going to be a bit improved now that they actually have a real competent, experienced head coach. But they're just. I don't think that they're going to make a big enough difference to win this game.
yeah, I mean the Patriots could come out this year and shock us a little bit, and they might kind
Also,
of have a
shout out
slight
Wentz for
resurgence.
retiring after being back with the Raiders for 5 minutes.
Yeah, I didn't even
That was
realize that.
probably
That's
the
kind of funny.
that's probably the easiest pick for me of this entire thing so far. Like, there's no convincing. There's really not a convincing path for me. This next one though,
So yeah, this next one was another one where it was very close for me. 49ers at Seahawks. Um, this is a this is another of one of the many divisional rivalry games this week. Um,
why
and
can't I mention Brenton Strange plays for the Jaguars? Dang it!
um, the the 49ers, I believe, are coming back healthy or starting out the season a lot healthier than they ended last year. Um, which is kind of where I was like, I think them being healthy is going to give them a slight edge. I know Sam Darnold was um, just
Terrible the last time we saw him, but he actually had a really good season
well.
last year.
I was gonna say last year he had an incredible regular season, and then right towards the end of the season and into the playoffs, he kind of just shat himself.
Do they
Um,
play the Packers or they play the Rams? I thought they play the Rams. And the Rams just
they
punished them defensively. They didn't
yeah I
have.
think
I mean, no, to be fair, Darnold never had time to throw in that game. I can't really hate him
uh
that much. He was just getting molested at the point of
I
attack.
didn't actually get to watch that game, so don't
Oh,
I
dude,
didn't
they were like, I think he got sacked like 6 or 7 times. They just couldn't protect him very long.
yeah okay. But well, even like
It was still a
the
bad, it was still a bad taste in your mouth game.
yeah so like I I'm curious to see how he does over there in Seattle. I forget who they have a new head coach this year, correct? Or is this the second
I
year?
thought it was 2 years because Harrell's
Yeah,
been gone for 2 years now, right? I
yeah,
can't remember what his name is. He's all
yeah.
right. They were all right last year. They just weren't good enough.
So I'm curious to see how he does in the new scheme, in the new head coach, new team. Um, I'm not big on what the hell's his name?
Brock Purdy.
Brock Purdy. Thank you. I'm not. I am not high on Brock Purdy at all. I know he's kind of like a 50. Like some people absolutely love him, other people are kind of like meh, and I'm just like I don't think he's that great.
He's
Um,
like a 6 out of 10 quarterback with a 10 out of 10 line with a 10 out of 10 surrounding cast. He's a starting quarterback probably at like over half of the NFL team. He's a starting quarterback to me. Like he's my basis of he's a starting quarterback.
I mean, he's
He's just like a
solid.
digit or two above Daniel Jones, which means he
Like
can throw the football consistently. He
like
doesn't have an elite
he
arm, and he doesn't
yeah
have
like
elite athleticism either. He doesn't have an elite
yeah
frame. He's not big.
he can run an offense, but I
He's
don't think
average.
he
He's like
does not.
honestly, he's a slightly shorter and a slightly weaker armed Tom Brady in my eyes. And also by the way, I really, really don't like Tom Brady if that hasn't been made clear yet. But yeah,
So I
this
don't like
game,
Tom Brady, but I don't deny that he had, especially earlier in his
he was
career,
a
he had talent. But
he
he
always
just
had talent, but he also had like this is a small tangent. He had the best defensive-minded coach ever with the best defenses in the league for like in like the first decade of his career. They had like the top defense half
yeah
of those years,
yeah.
or they
It's
were
just
top three.
I just also kind of just got tired of
I
Tom
just get tired
Brady.
of him. I
Yeah
just don't care. I
yeah
honestly, it's really cool to see him doing stuff outside of football now.
yeah.
Anywho, let me get to the actual pick of
Yeah,
this game.
let's get back to what we were.
I do not believe in That's not true. I believe in Sam Darnold. I don't believe that the Seahawks are a complete team. I question who their wide. I think that Jackson Smith and Jigba is a very, very good wide receiver. The receiver room is going to be kind of a mess though this year. I think I can't remember who the starting tight end is. I think this team is
Uh,
going to be a very
I'll look it up.
balanced package of feeding Kenneth Walker the ball and short range passing situations and just throwing it short a lot, playing a very safe style of football, a very boring style of football. I might be wrong. I'm not very familiar. I didn't catch a whole lot of Seahawks games. I'd have to pay for NFL Redbox, and I don't want to do that.
Okay, okay, there we go.
Um,
Seahawks starting tight end is expected to be AJ Barner, with
I have
rookie
no idea
second
who he is.
rounder
I'm sorry,
Elijah
bro.
Arroyo positioned as the primary backup. Yeah,
He actually was pretty good last season. I have no idea, but I don't know who that guy is. I'm sorry.
yeah,
Um,
neither do I. But that
49ers, this has got to look, they've got 2 years left. This is one of the last 2 years they have before either Shanahan gets fired or they have to break up the band because this is getting way too expensive and they haven't finished the job. This is the year. They have to finish and go all the way and do it this year, or else this team is going to fall up, or this team is just going to be stripped for parts. Like they've already been stripped for parts, but now your starting safety is going to, like, most of your starting defensive players are going to be out of their contracts and they're going to want to leave. EMC might retire at the end of this year if he gets hurt again. They have to finish this year. They have to go all the way and win the ring, or else they're gonna miss their window. This is like the last year in my eyes. This is the last dance for them. With that being said,
that's
uh,
fair.
I don't like their wide receiver room right now without Debo, even though Debo got fat as hell last season. I don't like the fact that George Kittle spends all of his time blocking when he's one of the best vertical threat tight ends in the in the history of the NFL, and he spends all of his time blocking. Also, I don't trust CMC to stay healthy. But on this game, I think that they win just because they're a better team. But they're definitely my pick for it's now or never.
That's fair. Yeah. So like for me, like I think with this being week one,
I'm picking them
they're
just because they're the better team. But like
yeah,
down the road, it's as injuries pile up because they're gonna pile up. This team can't seem to avoid injuries. This team is going to have to find ways to win like they haven't before.
yeah. Um, yeah. I think that's pretty much all we can say on that one. Uh, Titans at
I'm kind of giving my preseason
Broncos.
prediction for these teams as well because I'm used to watching videos that are like preseason, like the, like, you know what I mean, like, hey,
That,
it's this team's time, you know what I mean?
that's fair. Yeah.
So I'm kind of
Th-
doing
th-
that as
th-
well when we go team by team.
that's totally fine. This is just kind of like something that like the night before the our stream Wednesday morning, my brother was like kind of threw the idea at me. I was like, yeah, why not?
Okay,
Let's do it.
cool.
So this
Maybe I
is
can change your guys' for the future. Anyways,
Broncos or Titans at Broncos. This one, um, Kevin and I had the same thought process. It just flipped the teams. Um, I I think the Titans are still going to look like crap even with Cam Ward coming in. I don't think he's going to be enough to really change their trajectory. And I think the Broncos in the second year of Bo Nix is going to look fairly well. I mean, they looked pretty good last year, and I think they're going to kind of carry some of that over. And I'm curious to see how he does in year two here. So,
may I
for
begin?
yes, go ahead. What you got?
Okay. Um, I really, 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 really like Cam Ward. I love. He's probably the most low-key first overall pick since Trevon Walker, and he's probably the most ignored first overall pick in a lot since like Eric Fisher. Um, I really, really like him. I think he's gonna be a great quarterback. But that being said, there's no way in hell that they are winning this game. They are going to get blown out, and it's not. And it's particularly because there's this funny guy named Pat Sertan, and he's gonna lock down whoever. the Titans' top receiver in this game is going to be. I hate Bo Nix. I think Bo Nix is overrated. I've thought Bo Nix was overrated ever since he was at Oregon after he bailed on Auburn. Their offense is just gonna beat. They're just gonna beat up the Titans. Titans just don't aren't a team this year. The Titans are a bunch of pieces, and it's gonna be 2 or 3 years before they actually can put a team around Cam Ward. So yeah, it's gonna be a blowout. I think
Yeah,
Cam Ward's gonna be great. I think the Broncos are gonna have a really good team because this is pretty similar to 2015 where they just built a monster defense and the offense only needs to be good or like functioning enough to score points for them to hit the playoffs again.
yeah. So like,
So yeah,
yeah, to me, like the Broncos. I'm not like super high on the Broncos.
if a
But
team beats
I
the Chiefs this year, it's gonna probably be the Broncos in my eyes.
um, but I just like the Broncos are solid enough. And I think Bo Nix did well last year as a rookie. I'm not saying like he like
Yeah, he was
I'm
good.
not
I
I'm
just
not
hate him.
crazy. Yeah, that's fair.
That's just
Everybody's
personal.
entitled.
That's This has
Everybody's
nothing to do with
entitled to
his
their
play
opinion.
style. I just genuinely hate him.
Again,
This
that's
is
fair. That
just
is
pure on. This
everybody
is just I
is
hate the way you walk. I hate the way you talk.
fair enough.
This has nothing to
So
do with football.
that's fair.
Okay,
But yeah, so I just feel like this one was very clear to me. Broncos
I'd love it
have the
if the
Titans
Titans
number
won
here.
because the amount of questions the Broncos would have after that game would be hilarious. But there's no way they're winning this game.
Yeah. Yeah. Um all right. So I
This one's
guess
a fun one.
yeah, let's go ahead and dive into this next game here. Lions at
Okay, I already
Packers
know why you think
as
they're gonna win.
that hang on. Lions at Packers. For anybody who did watch our last stream and saw me and Kevin talk about all this, you know I am a Packers fan. Um, no, that is not my sole reason for picking the Packers here. Um, I honestly think that the losses that the Lions have suffered over the offseason and the things that the Packers have done over this offseason, the additions that they've added, I think the gap between the two teams has closed enough that I think the Packers can come out here because in pretty much all of the games, all the divisional games last year, except for I think one of them against the Lions, where I think Jordan Love was like really hurt in that game and just didn't play well at all. With Jordan Love being healthy and just, I think the Packers are going to be able to come out and hold their own against this line. I still think the Lions are going to be good this year, even with them having two new starters on the offensive line, new offensive coordinator, new defensive coordinator. Um, I just think with the addition of Michael Parkinson's, although he will most like if he's not on a snap count, I will be shocked. Um, with I'm not worried about the back injury that he's got going on. It's not anything severe. Um, but they're not going to be able to just throw him right in. He needs that time to ramp up. Get it's not going to be necessarily the defensive schemes that he's going to have to get the hang of. He's going to have to get used to the new phrasing, the new language that's used in the new system. So he's over the next couple of weeks. I expect him to kind of like get worked into the defense. Like I could see anywhere from like 20 to 25 snaps for this entire game. Like when you need a big stop or and stuff like that is when I see him coming in. There is going to be a question on both sides of the ball. So like the Lions interior offensive line and Packers interior defensive line when it comes to the rushing game. I'm curious to see who's going to win there. But I feel comfortable enough with the depth that we have here after losing um, Kenny Clark and in that trade for Micah Parsons. I think that the Packers are close enough and are going to have be able to get that stop that they couldn't get in last year. I think they're going to be able to get that defensive stop that they're going to need to try and go and win this game. I do expect this to be a very close game, but I think the Packers are going to come out just on top here. All right, sorry about the long tangent there, Grayson.
You're good. I was
Go
just
for
drinking
it.
a lot of water. I had to bring my dog upstairs to make shit freaking out.
Oh, so you didn't even hear my argument there.
Oh no, I was listening the entire time.
Oh, okay.
Um, big things. One, even though Kenny Clark wasn't great last year, he was still a defense. He's still a good, above average
Oh,
defensive tackle.
I'm not denying the fact that that was a
Losing
big loss
him
for us, but
and Micah Parsons, if he plays like you said, he's gonna be limited. The
oh,
big question
he's
here
gonna
is
play.
how
It's
do he's gonna be limited, yes, and limited. And trust me, I watched another great edge rusher be very limited last year. It doesn't. It usually means you're gonna end up frustrated.
well, so I actually am. I actually feel comfortable. Like Lucas Van Ness has been showing up this offseason. Like it looks like he's going to take that third year jump that we need from him. Um, so I'm not so worried
Thank
about
God I have a lot of water bottles around.
the. I'm not so worried about the edge rush room here. I my concern is going to be that see how our defensive the internal defensive line does here with uh like Colby Wooden coming in here. I think he's going to do all right. Like he looked pretty good in preseason. He put I believe it was Colby Wooden that put on the weight to um be
Not bad
better in
weight.
the run game and be overall bigger here. Um, like I said, it this game is going to be close regardless. But I think I do think that the Packers are going to have enough here to kind of put us over the edge here.
May I begin now?
Yeah, sorry.
Sorry, you're good. If we were talking about college football, I'd probably be on the same tangent you are. If you were asking me questions, I could be like, I can trust me, I have a very detailed level of answers for you. Um, but yeah, big question marks are Frank Ragnow's replacement because he retired really late in the off season.
hmm Yeah,
That was a very strange retirement. I'm gonna guess he probably had some form of injury right beforehand.
I'm not entirely sure off the top of
I
my
don't know if
head.
that's confirmed or not, but I've had to guess because he quit. He let himself out the door really late. Another
Uh,
thing, is Aiden Hutchinson an efficient and effective pass rusher back in his first game since that horrific leg injury?
hmm. Yeah,
Is
there's
he
that too.
playing? Pretty sure he's playing, right?
I believe, I'm almost certain he is.
Another big thing that we don't really talk about, new OC, new DC. That's going to be interesting to see if they try to mimic what they were doing last year, where Ben Johnson just decided we're going to move the ball, we're going to move guys around a whole lot, we're going to get very creative with how we get our guys the ball.
Yeah, yeah. So Aiden Hutchinson is fully ready to play. He's been fully cleared and been participating in all training camp. So
If the Lions' interior offensive line doesn't suck, I expect them to play more of a power run set and really attack the fact that without Frank Clark, I understand the Packers have that defensive line depth, but I don't think it's going to be immediately as good as losing Frank Clark will be. And that impact, I think, will be felt, especially in this first game. And if
Frank
the
Clark,
Lions what's his name?
Kenny Clark.
Kenny Clark, sorry. I always think
I
of
was
Frank Clark.
I was like, who are
Anyways,
you talking about? Clint?
Without Kenny Clark, he's effective. He was still a pretty good. He wasn't great, but he was still above average.
Oh no, yeah,
Without
I'm
him,
not denying the fact that that is a loss
that
here.
plug-in is still going to be it's going to be that guy's probably his first big game start, and it's going to come up against a team that kind of ate your breakfast, ate your lunch last time you played them. I think if the Lions offensive line can win the point of attack often enough for them to get like a 4 or 5 yard gain every once in a while on the run, it's just going to turn into the Packers are going to be stuck playing a very hard game of chicken where they're not to decide whether or not they're going to play a 6 man front with a 4-2-5 or if they're going to have to pull that extra linebacker or pull a safety down into the box, which is going to let guys like Jamison Williams and Amon-Ra St. Brown and Sam Laporta go to work on them. It's going to be a very close game, and honestly, I trust the Lions just a teensy bit more right now because of the fact that Micah Parsons is not going to be because like yes, I understand Lucas Van Ness is really good, but chances are you were going to want to have Van Ness and Parsons on the same field at the same time playing both ends,
Oh,
and it's
no,
much easier to
it,
counter one side than two sides.
if it came down to
But I'm not super
just
familiar with
two
how the
edge,
Packers play their scene
it
this
would it
game.
would be Rashawn Gary over Lucas Van Ness if it was just the two edge rushers with Micah Parsons.
Also,
Um,
if you're hearing a like a noise in the background, I'm petting my dog's back.
oh, you're good. I don't think it's coming through all that much. I actually had to
Anyways,
I actually had to turn your volume up in the stream because I saw a comment from Corey. Oh, okay. Uh,
I'm a good girl. I kind of realized she's
yeah,
gonna come
Kevin, I've got
downstairs.
the game going on uh uh in front of me here. If you're still in here, let me actually do.
Clean your eyes out, baby. Goodness. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. Oh
Let
my
me
goodness.
do this. Let me drag that over here. That way I can keep an. Actually, no.
But
I gotta.
yeah, this is probably my game of the week.
Let me.
Like if this was college football, I think that this is where game day would be.
Uh,
I'll hang on for a second so you finish technical difficulties.
no, it's not so much technical difficulties. I'm trying to uh, get it to where I can try and keep an eye on chat because I had kind of had the chat box kind of covered up with. Hang on, that should. Uh, that's not gonna work. Dang it! It's fine. Yeah, that's what I'm gonna have to do. I'm just gonna have to put chat over here and just keep looking off to my right here. That way I can keep the because I've had the spreadsheet pulled up and so it's was covering my OBS, so I wasn't seeing chat. Um,
Okay, so would you
so
like to continue?
yeah,
Okay, yeah, this comes down to a matchup game for me, and I favor the Lions more.
and that's fair. This is going to be a very the other
This is a
thing for
big
me.
matchup game for
This
Matt
is
LaFleur, especially in the mental game.
yeah. So that's kind of like how you said earlier with the Bucks Falcons. I think the Packers are going to want to come out and win this,
At the same time, I feel like the Lions have a lot of anger built up because last season, quite
and it
literally, was ripped away
horribly
from
for
them
them.
because
Yeah,
of literally, and it wasn't because they got outcoached. It's quite literally their
the
defense was
injuries was
so
yeah
destroyed
yeah
that
the
with the
injuries
competent
killed their
offense, their
season.
defense
Yeah,
couldn't just like even if they'd beaten the Commanders, the Eagles would have just ran the ball every time they came out.
yeah.
Just seven offensive linemen, three tight ends, power run.
Yeah. But
But yeah, that's kind of it on this game. I just think the Lions are going to come out pissed off, especially Aiden Hutchinson. And if he is truly going to be good to go like they say, he's going to have a monster game.
oh yeah, I'm not denying that Aiden Hutchinson will probably have a good game. Like I said, I'm not denying this is going to be a very close game. I expect this to
Yes,
be
like,
one
dude, yeah,
score
I'm not
for
trying to
sure.
hate on the Packers. I
Oh,
think the
I know you're
Packers are
not.
really good.
I know you're
It's
not.
just I think that the Lions are going to come in here and Dan Campbell's going to be able to rally the troops a little. I think Dan Campbell's the best motivator in the NFL, and I think he's going
And
to have his guys ready to beat them.
yeah, so uh,
Yes, lay on my
but yeah,
feet.
let's go ahead and
And move on to the next game because
before
we kind of been
we're,
talking about this for like 35 minutes,
yeah, we could go on about that game for a long
hours,
time.
because it's probably the most discussable game.
Um, so
Texans Rams.
yeah, Texans. So this one, I'm the odd man out here. Um, I am not that high on CJ Stroud. I don't like. I'm not saying he's a bad quarterback by any means,
I don't
but
trust Ohio State QBs.
I am not as high on him as most of the NFL and most of the public seem to be. I think Matthew Stafford is a very good quarterback. I think that this will be a
He's
close
on the
game.
decline.
I mean,
I
yeah,
just
he.
think he's on the. I'll
But
give you. Finna go ahead and finish. I can give you my reasonings for why I'm picking the Texans pretty easily.
that's fair. I just coming out here week one. I think that the Rams are a little bit more solid here. The Texans aren't bad, but I think that the Rams are slightly better. Um, I think this will be another good game. Like I don't think this will be a bad game by any means. But I kind of trust Matthew Stafford more than I do CJ
My
Stroud.
dog's being adorable right now, and I'd send you a photo, but I don't have my phone on me.
Um, I think CJ Stroud will probably have a better year than he did last year because he definitely had a down year last
He,
year. Um,
yeah. It's kind
but
of, you kind of can tell where we've gotten to the games where we care more about them, because most of these games are easy pick games, and then you have the games that are kind of contested.
yeah.
Mm.
So yeah, for me, this was I feel more comfortable picking the Rams here than I do trusting the Texans to go out and um, show up. I mean, both teams are going to show up, but I just don't think that the. I think the Rams. I think is more. I think this is going to be a defensive game, honestly, and I kind of trust the Rams defense a little bit more, especially with their offense over the Texans defense. Um, so I'll go ahead and turn it over to you to give your thoughts
Kev,
here.
do you have any comments?
Do what, Kev?
Screen share if you can, so I can see where you're at. Because I can't have YouTube up on my phone and be in here.
Yep, 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 yep.
I can't mute YouTube.
Uno momento. Uh, okay. Let me make sure. Okay, so yeah, it's being shared in the Discord for you, Kev, and yes,
Yep.
the it is
Okay.
still showing in the stream
So
too. Good. Okay,
so
that was
real quick, just before we move on, let's because I'm just coming in kind of like as y'all were I guess y'all were talking about the Texas brand game.
yes.
Yeah.
Okay. Um, so I didn't really hear what you all said. I literally just got done with watching the game tonight. Um, the game tonight was a lot closer than I was expecting it to have been. I think there were some key things that played a factor into that.
Oh yeah. I think we'll probably go with the game now being over. I think because we're only got a couple games. We only have two games after the Texas Rams game. We can probably double back and kind of
Talk
recap.
about it end.
Yeah,
Yeah.
That's fine.
we'll end going back over that now that the game is officially over. We kind of went over like because
What
whenever
was
we
going on
started
about
this,
half, like begin middle of
the
the third
game
quarter
had
when the
yeah,
yeah.
the game was in the weather delay whenever I started the stream,
Yeah,
so that's
and
we kind of
I
recapped
apologize
everything.
for everybody in the stream if it's kind of loud on my end. I'm going to try and continue to mute when I'm not talking
Um,
because I am currently at work. So
Shockingly though, Kev, unlike when you and I are normally on the phone, I'm not really getting your background right now. Weird. Oh wait, I know
okay,
why. It's because Discord has
Deafening
the filter
uh
on
yeah, it has that
audio monitoring.
background deafening.
yeah,
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 gotcha.
yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
I'm gonna get to my reasoning for my pick now, Adrian.
Yes, go ahead.
Okay. Big thing. Matt Stafford's back and his neck. There have been a lot of concerns about injuries with his back and his neck. I think Stafford's got two. I think this is probably Stafford's last full year starting. I think that the Rams are going to go into the draft and pick up one of those. There's a lot of talented but not complete quarterbacks in this class, and I think that the Rams are going to pick up one of them, whether it's Klubnik or Aller or
So
Mendoza
is that a current
or
injury or is that just injury
I saw
history?
stuff. I saw stuff recently that there were concerns about his back, but I haven't dug into them. But from what I've seen from mildly reputable sources, is there have been issues and concerns with his back, and that paired with what he's 38 now, right? Like he's getting up there.
Matthew
Uh,
Stafford. I'm trying to think.
How
He
old is
went to the
Stafford?
Rams from where?
The
Lions.
Lions. So Jared Goff
And be,
and Matthew Stafford swap teams. Uh,
and before that, he was where?
he started his career at the Lions, if I'm not mistaken.
He played for Georgia in college.
Okay,
Like so,
okay. I mean,
he-
Oh
Matthew
yeah, he had an
Stafford is
aggravated
not
disc in his back.
yeah. So currently dealing with an aggravated
he's
disc
not
in his back.
he's never had a really like outstanding spectacular career. He's a good quarterback. Don't get me wrong,
He's gonna
but
sneak into the Hall of Fame because he's gonna have a bunch of cumulative stats and he got a Super Bowl ring. If he didn't have the ring, he wouldn't
right,
even be in the conversation. But he's gonna sneak into the Hall of Fame because he got the ring. Basically
Yeah.
right.
he's just the
So
other coin of Philip Rivers.
Yeah.
Also, his numbers were heavily inflated because he had the best wide receiver athlete ever in Calvin Johnson.
okay. So I was not
Anyways,
aware of him dealing with a back injury. Um, I'm not going to change my pick because the one game is already completed. I will leave my pick.
but
I
yeah, that was my reasoning for picking against them because if they land a hard hit on him and he goes down, they're stuck with Jimmy Garoppolo, who I don't hate as much as other people do, but no, I don't think he's gonna be. I think that this game could become a
yeah.
shootout rather
Yeah,
quickly,
yeah.
especially if
If CJ Stroud has a
Hurts gets a
resurgence
concussion.
like he did, if CJ Stroud plays like he did as a
He was
rookie,
rookie year,
this game
or if
will
he's
be a
just
lot.
better than last year, because last year was bad.
Yeah, last year was bad. I expect him to have a bounce back year, not necessarily to the extent that he was as a rookie, but I do expect him to
I
have a
feel
solid
like if
year.
he's very good, the Texans are probably going to win their division because their division's very weak.
Um, I just like not knowing that Matthew Stafford was dealing with an injury. I felt more comfortable going with Matthew Stafford.
The Rams could. This is another coin
This
toss
could
game. If
yeah
Stafford's okay, I think the Rams roll to victory. But if he gets hurt or if he's just not able to make those same throws, I think they're in a lot of trouble.
yeah. Um,
That's kind of it for me on this one.
do you have
I
anything to
think
add
also
there?
if the Texans defense holds the Rams running game down and forces him to throw, he's not going to be able to maintain over the
If
course of the game.
Kyron Williams is able to retain the level of like just straight out performances that he had last year, though, I think they should be okay, even with the stingy Texans defense.
All right. Well,
All right, you want to move on to the next one?
yeah. Let's go ahead and roll over to Ravens and Bills. I'm gonna actually, since Kevin has now joined us here, I'm gonna throw it to him first, since he's the odd man out here, so that he can explain his reasoning for going with the
I've
Ravens here.
actually I just realized I'm probably very wrong about this. Honestly, I forgot about how bad last year in the regular season went for the Bills.
Yes, agreed. Um, the Bills have not had a spectacular performance last year. I don't expect him to come out very strong this year. They might have a better late season as they start to mesh and click. But coming out against the Ravens, who have typically had a very dominant defense and a fairly um, good offense in most seasons in the last several years. And that is my determination for this particular pick. I just don't see the Bills coming out very strong at the start of the season.
Do you have anything to say, Adrian, or do you want me to take the reins on this
Uh,
one?
I will let you go ahead, and I will come in last here, and
Okay. The big thing that the Bills did this season to fumigate how bad their defense kind of got last year is that they got rid of Von Miller and they brought in a bunch of guys that had played for them before and brought them back into the system like Tre'Davious White. And I think that they let I might be wrong. I could have sworn that Oliver left for a little bit before coming back.
is that all
Nope, I'm
you?
wrong. I'm talking out of my ass. He's been
Okay,
there the entire time. But they
okay.
brought back some guys that they'd let walk. The big thing to me is that that loss last year for the Ravens was very mentally crushing because they should have won that game.
Yes, agreed.
And that drop by Mark Andrews is going to haunt him, like unless they can do the magic again. My reasoning for picking the Bills originally was just I think Josh Allen's going to sky. I think that if the Bills can come out, it's going to be entirely dependent on whether or not the Bills' offense can gel from day one. And they were pretty good at the end of last year, so there's a pretty okay chance that that happens. But on a more detailed remembrance that, yeah, the Ravens kind of beat the crap out of them last year, and I forgot about that. This is probably my worst pick. If I could, I'd flip it, but it's too late now. But yeah, I think the Bills have if the Bills can get the crowd on their side and Derrick Henry just isn't as good this year and he takes some steps back, they should have a good chance. But it's going to be entirely dependent on whether or not that defense is gelled day one, or if it's going to be something where they progress over their easy division and then get there at the right time again, like they did last year.
Adrian, move your box over.
Move my what over?
Move your box over. You're still highlighting the previous game.
Oh, that's not my box. That's shoe.
All right.
Um,
Do you have anything to say, Adrian?
so for me, the Ravens Bills game, um, it I think this is going to be another close game. It's definitely going to be an intense game. Uh, this these two teams are very almost anytime they go at it, it's always almost always a good game to watch. Um, I leaned towards the Bills here. Um, but again, I could see this one going the Ravens' way as well. Um,
I regret my choice
and
a lot now. I think about it. The longer I think about it, I'm like, what was I on, dude? The Ravens, I like this is either gonna be the Bills win close or the Ravens are gonna crush them.
I I just think
Definitely
that
my biggest regret pick.
I think that Josh Allen's going to want to prove himself here, and with it being
Yeah,
at
because
the
there was that
Bills,
MVP controversy. Yeah.
and then there's also just it's at the Bills, so having that home field advantage, I think the Bills should come out hot here. If they don't, then obviously I will be wrong. Because regardless, the Ravens are going to come out strong. But I think that
Ah, baby.
I think that the Bills will want to prove that they aren't just a team that's going to beat all the bad teams and lose against the top teams. Um, so that was kind of like I said, this was another close one for me, but I did lean towards the Bills here.
All right, you want to move on to the next game?
Yeah, let's go ahead and wrap up the week one games predictions here with the Vikings Bears. Um,
Do either of you have
this
anything like other to say that other than the Vikings should kill them? Because I'm kind of prepared to do a little bit of a devil's advocate argument for them.
so
Okay.
actually
So,
we were saying that we think this is going to be just as close as the Lions Packers game. Because for me the NFC North is going to be Lions Packers fighting for 1 and 2, Vikings Bears fighting for 3 and 4. I think the Bears with new head coach, um,
Ben Johnson,
yeah,
right? That's his name.
yeah, Ben Johnson. I think um I think they're gonna. I think Ben Johnson's gonna be good for them. I don't know that it's going to be. Uh, I think this is going to be too early for it to really show here in week one. I do think the Bears are going to put up a fight here. Um, but I think that the Vikings defense is going to be able to hold up enough to stop Caleb. I don't trust Caleb Williams to do enough here. I think the offensive weapons around JJ McCarthy are going to be enough to help carry them to a victory here. But I do foresee this being a very close game. Could the Bears upset the Vikings here? I think so, but I feel more comfortable picking the Vikings here in week one Whereas when it comes back to this game later in the season, if the Bears under Ben Johnson have started to really click and really get rolling, I could see it flipping the other way.
Okay. Uh, yeah. My thing with the Vikings is that as long as JJ McCarthy has the most QB friendly system with the best wide receiver in the NFL paired with the one of probably the second best wide receiver two in the NFL with a really good running back and a pretty good offensive line and a top 10 tight end, this offense is going to even as long as he's not historically awful, this offense is going to put up a lot of points against almost any defense in the league. To me, in the NFC North is a three-way race, and then the Bears aren't bad, but they're just not as good as the other three teams are. Bears like the head coaching hire, like Colston Loveland. I don't think I disagreed with them picking him over Warren, but that's tit for tat. He's still really, really good. The receivers are going to be pretty good. They don't have the quarterback.
Yeah.
I don't trust Caleb Williams as far. Look, I didn't trust Caleb Williams when he was a prospect in college. He couldn't win. He was not clutch. He lost to Tulane for God's sake. He doesn't have it. He's never gonna have it. And this isn't even the whole zesty thing. That's fine. As long as you're winning, you can do whatever the hell you want. And I think that people making that out as the problem is the wrong thing to be looking at. What's to look at is he's not mentally tough.
So
And the NFC North is probably the mentally toughest division out. The NFC North and the AFC North are the two mentally toughest divisions, and I just don't think he's going to be as tough to
I
come
think you
out
could
and beat him.
argue not just mentally but physically as well.
The AFC North is still physically tougher to me because like the Ravens and the
No,
Steelers have pretty much been
I'm
shanking each other for the past
I'm just saying
25
like
years.
in terms of if you want to go the two toughest, yeah, they it is the two hardest divisions in football.
Yeah, and it's been that way for a long time.
Yeah.
Uh, except for
Um.
like there's been a couple years in the NFC West was really good, but that's tit for tat. And once again, the
Yeah.
problem is I don't think Caleb Williams is the answer. I think there's going to be a really hard conversation about what to do if they suck this year.
I mean, I still find it
If
funny
they
that
win,
there was a practice during training camp where
where they
Ben
ditched
Johnson
the
kicked.
entire first team offense and they put the second
Yeah.
team offense in,
Yeah.
that's pretty bad. I
Okay.
think Ben Johnson's going to scheme them opportunities,
But
but
I also there was also something that I heard about between Ben Johnson and Caleb Williams. I think Ben Johnson is going to put too much pressure on Caleb Williams this year. Because the goal that he set for Caleb Williams on this year, I don't believe is reachable for Caleb Williams.
I just Williams has a
Um,
lot of talent. He needs a nurturer. He doesn't need a disciplinarian.
yeah. So
And the last two Bears head coaches are disciplinarian coaches. He needs a coach like he needs literally if you switch the roles around, I'd still pick this game to go to the Vikings. If you
yeah,
switch JJ McCarthy and Caleb Williams, the result would probably actually get bigger in the Vikings' favor. Williams needs a coach that can scheme around him. Ben Johnson doesn't want to do that,
yeah. So
or he's not going to do that correctly. Caleb Williams needs a nurturing coach. I don't think Ben Johnson's that. I don't think most of the NFL coaches are that. He's a diva and he needs a diva as head coach. He doesn't got that. I think the Bears are going to be bad this year because of Caleb Williams, and I think that it's going to be just another search for another quarterback in the
yeah.
offseason.
So you were also saying that you think the Vikings are still going to contend. So I don't think
Oh yeah,
the Vikings.
go ahead.
I can see them like I still think they'll probably be number three in the division. I don't think they'll quite get to fighting for number two. Um, I definitely still think they'll be good this year just because the offensive weapons around JJ McCarthy are too good to not be. Unless like if JJ McCarthy is okay, they will
They're
be
still going to have like a
okay.
10-7 record.
Yeah, like 9 and 8, 10 might be a little not like
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
I'm expecting like a 9 and 8 season for the
The
Vikings.
truth is that McCarthy, I hate him because he went to Michigan, and I hate Michigan. He's got a really good arm, and as long as Justin Jefferson and Jordan Addison are healthy, they're going to rip the top off of every defense in the NFL. That's
Yeah,
just like they're going to do it to the
yeah,
Bengals, they'll do it to not the Bengals,
yeah.
they're going to do it to the Packers, they're going to do it to the Lions. As long if those two stay healthy, it's kind of like the 1998 Vikings. How far can those two carry you? And it's going to be a pretty and honestly, I think that the NFC North is going to have two of the three wild card teams. It's going to be the Packers, or I think the Lions are. The Packers are my favorite right now because I don't know what the offense is going to look like for the Lions this season. But if
The
JJ
Packers are
McCarthy
currently
looks
favored to win the division. I
yeah,
will say that.
but if JJ McCarthy comes out and he's like a Pro Bowler and he throws like 28 touchdowns and doesn't and mitigates those interceptions and only throws 4 or 5 and has just a great rookie season, they're gonna dominate. They're gonna dominate, and they could run the table in the NFC North as long as those two guys stay healthy and McCarthy can play up to his potential. Do I think that's gonna happen? Not likely. I think they're still
Not
gonna
right
be.
away.
I still think that they are a 12 or 13 win team even, and I think that they're probably gonna split the series with the Packers and Vikings. I mean Packers and Lions because of just
Yeah.
how
So,
hard it's going to be to
oh
cover
yeah. I mean,
both of those all stars.
I can definitely see
But it's the question
the
of can
split
Jay
in the
Jettas and
yeah.
Addison be healthy the entire season? If they are, they're going to be really good. If they aren't, it's going to become weird.
Actually, I'm not
Okay.
mistaken. Addison is actually on a 3 game suspension to start the season.
You know what? Still doesn't matter. They still have to figure out a way to cover Justin Jefferson and Hawkinson.
Uh,
They genuinely have
yeah,
really
yeah.
good tools on offense. They should
So
be fine.
I still expect them to win this game, but yes, Hutchinson or Addison is out for the first 3 games due to suspension.
Yeah. Um, did you guys do MVP predictions?
No, we did not. We
No.
were just all we did was the game
Okay.
predictions. We might do more as the season goes on. This was like I said, this was a literally the night
Spur of the
before.
moment thing.
Hey, this sounds like how do you feel about doing
All right.
this? Okay, sure, let's
Don't
do it.
worry. I'll send you a whole textbook of an overhaul, man. Uh, is there
Uh,
any other?
Kev, do you
So
want to add in here?
I'm gonna preface or preference this or preface this by saying this. Um, Mom's gonna kick her ass for both of us choosing against her bear.
Oh yeah, you don't know this. Our mother is a Bears fan.
Is a diehard Bears fan.
Yeah.
What a
However,
depressing life.
um,
Hey,
I will
hey,
say
well,
this:
technically,
the Bears,
as long as she
the
was live
the
when 1985 happened, it's all
Yes,
good.
oh
yes.
yeah,
Oh yeah.
You can lord that over you for
I'm
all
pretty sure
time, because
that's
that's
about
still the greatest defense
I'm pretty
ever.
sure that I'm pretty sure that that's about the time that she became a Bears fan, if not a little bit more. But um,
I still remember
the
her
Bears in
playing
the
the
last
freaking Super Bowl shuffle growing up.
the Bears in the last few years, um, they have started to make moves and become better.
Oh yeah, they're definitely
Okay.
working on
Yeah,
improving
it's
their
just I
roster.
don't
It's just
think
they're
Um,
Caleb Williams was the right. Look,
however, however, in almost every facing like of last of a division rival, they can't seem to muster the um the coup de grace to get a win.
I mean,
Um, with and honestly, their quarterback, the same quarterback this year as last year, has has doesn't have the experience. He doesn't have the coaching behind him to prove himself, to better himself. He needs a different coach.
well, this is a new
Do I
coach than he
see
had
that
last
as
year, so we'll see how that
my big
changes.
do
thing
I
is I just
see
don't think.
do I see that as a help to him? No, I don't. I mean, this game will tell, but I really see them coming out and just absolutely getting obliterated by the Vikings.
So last year, I will
If
say
it
this:
if it
the
if
Bears
it
came out
didn't take
really hot last year and then died out real. They died out hard.
if
They kind of
if
died. I
they
think
if
that's.
they
I think it was kind of
if
the
they
the.
if
Oh, go
they
ahead.
come out strong and hot and hard this year, do I see this as being a close game? Very possibly. Do I see it as being a possible upset game, especially being
Oh,
that it's a Monday night
the
game?
the Bears
Very,
the
very
Bears
possible.
put the Bears
But
tested every team in the
but that
division last year.
but but that
They
Like,
were terrible last
possibility,
year.
yeah, but
but that
every
possibility,
divisional
I
game,
don't.
the
Yeah, I
Bears
know. What I'm
made it
saying is that is
close.
prefacing is that if Bears can get that
So
much better, they're probably gonna steal. They're
I
gonna steal a
expect it to be
division
a
game
close.
from somebody.
Yeah, so like I expect it to be a close game regardless, but just because the Bears always seem to keep things close a lot of times in divisional games. Like last year, last year they almost stole twice against the Packers. Like
Honestly, I expect
the
my big
Packers
if
had
I
a
had to pick
really
an
bad year in the
upset
division
watch
last
game,
year.
if I had to pick one bad game for the Packers this season that's gonna raise eyebrows, is I think that the Bears are gonna have a very serious chance of winning when they're at home versus the Packers this year. I think that's going to be probably the hardest road game the Packers are gonna have to play because the Bears hate them
So
so
the
much,
the,
and this is gonna be a big
the
game where they're
one
gonna want to get up to beat you, especially because you should be in a pretty good state by the time you play them.
the one upside I see to them having this being a close game, and correct me if I'm wrong, but they are at home for this game.
Yes, it is at
Yeah,
Bears.
So with them being at home, they do have that possibility of making it a close game and really testing out the Vikings to start the season. However,
yeah.
if and when they start to make errors and mistakes, they're just going to compound and it's going to turn into a blowout. If they can negate that and keep that from happening, I see it as being a close game and even a possible upset. But ultimately, I think that the Vikings are going to win in the end.
Okay,
Uh,
so
we do a little. I know this is a bit
just
off. We
just
do
because I was curious, the Vikings are favored to win uh, Monday night. They are a 1.5 point favorite to win with a 52.4 chance of victory.
Adrian. Can I do a little history backtrack for the Bears because it's kind of been in a factor inside this for a little bit. Uh, you got to think this is also weird because the NFC North hasn't been this consistently good ever. Like we kind of shit on the Bears, but like the Vikings usually have like a 6 or 7 year period where they're just not a football team. They're just kind of there. The Packers had the entire 80s where they just weren't like the 70s and 80s. The Packers weren't a factor, and the Lions have been were pretty much terrible outside of the 90s. Like the Bears just kind of ran into this time where the Bears, I would say, are probably like 18th or 19th overall in the league, but they're going to finish with the divisional record and they're going to look worse because they're playing in the most top to bottom stacked division in the NFL this year.
Oh yeah, I'm not saying that the Bears are bottom of the
Also, the Bears
barrel.
have kind of gotten screwed over
Like
time. Like
I
the
expect
Cody
the
Parkey
Bears to
double doink
win
was really
like
bad.
7
Six, seven games.
around 7 games
And
this year.
if they were in like the NFC South, I'd probably pick them to win the division or be up there because they're just a better team than most of those teams. And they still have a pretty then the it's the Bears. They always usually have a stingy defense. But like the
Yeah.
Bears have really got like the Bears' last moment of joy was probably I don't know, Khalil Mack showing up and being great and then they lost in the dumbest way possible.
Yeah. So
Yeah, miserable to be a Bears fan. But you know what's even worse? Being a Panthers fan. At least you guys have been back to the
Well,
playoffs in the last 10 years.
I will say this. Um, I mean, they've had a couple great players come through the Bears. Devin Hester, really great player. He
Brian
just didn't have
Urlacher,
enough supporting.
Khalil
He
Mack.
just didn't have a. He didn't. They didn't have enough supporting
all right.
players
So
around them to make it a great team.
where
Adrian, was it
is
2011 when the Packers won the Super Bowl and they beat the Steelers like 31 to 26?
um
You're the Packers fan. It's either 2011 or 2012, but if I'm not wrong, the
Well, he
Bears
was a Packer
actually
fan back then.
well, yeah, I didn't start watching football again till like 2020.
Okay.
So,
Anyways, so the Bears played the Packers in the NFC title game that year, and it was the last time the Bears have been close anywhere near a Super Bowl. And guess what happened coming into that game? They were down to they got Rex Grossman and I can't remember who their backup was got hurt, and they were down to their third stringer, and I think they only lost like 24-10 or something like that. It was surprisingly close for how good the Packers were, but like since then the Bears just can't seem to have everything. They haven't had a good offense or a truly great offense ever, and for like since like the 50s.
all right. So,
Like every
Well,
time they've been good, it's because their defense carries them, and I don't think we're in an era of the NFL where your defense can just bail you out at every turn anymore. And
yeah,
that's really
the defense of the Bears has always been
oh
um,
yeah, I'm not denying that
good
either.
and good enough.
Yeah.
Oh, also, if you want
Their
to
defense
make
is
your
always
mom mad, talk about the fact that they completely blew what should have been a dynasty. Because, like, we always talk about the 85 Bears, and people forget about the fact that the 86, 87, and 88 Bears, and even, I think, the 89 Bears all were, like, they led the second half of the decade in wins, and they never got back to the Super Bowl, despite
right,
having the top ranked defense that entire time. And then they
right,
fired Mike Ditka like idiots.
yeah.
Yeah.
So, um, but with all that being said, I think it's pretty obvious that we all believe that no matter the outcome, more than likely the Vikings are going to take this win almost
Yeah.
easily.
Yeah.
I wouldn't say
I
easily, but because it with it being a
It
divisional
comes
game,
down
the Bears
to the
always.
Bears playing complete. If the Bears can play a complete style, because like I forget, the Bears actually have good safeties. If the Bears can play a
Yeah,
complete style of defense, they're going to heavily limit the Vikings. And if
they're
there's
gonna
any kind of weather included,
limit the
it's going to
Vikings.
become a screwy game very quickly. If anything, I'd say
Uh,
of all the teams for the Vikings to beat,
I don't see any weather being a factor yet. Not
yeah,
yet. Too early in the
but
season.
yeah, of all of the teams that the Vikings, if I had to pick a team for the Vikings to struggle the most with in the NFC North, it's the Bears because the Bears play
Now,
great
if this game
defense
was taking
all the
place,
time.
if this game was taking place this year, late September, early October, I could absolutely see the weather being a factor.
All right.
Let
But
me
So
see when they. Let me see if I can
I
remember.
don't think weather's going to be a factor. It's just I'm used to the Bears always having some kind of precipitation when they play at night.
So week 11 is
All right,
when
come on, let's go
they.
downstairs.
Week 11 is when they will see each other again.
yeah, so you're talking late November, early no December,
Mm,
right?
week 11 should be like the third week of November, like right there.
Yeah.
So do we want
Let's,
to wrap the stream up, Adrian, or
well, we
So,
wanted to
do you
talk
want to
about.
review Week One at
we
all, or the Cowboys
we
pack?
need to wrap back around to the Cowboys loss that
Yeah.
they should have actually probably won.
So I will
So there
say,
was
so again, I don't, because I wasn't fully paying attention after we got the stream started. I didn't notice another turnover after
there
the.
was only one turnover in the game.
Yep. So again,
There was a couple
Eagles won the
turnovers,
turnover battle. So there was part of it.
but
If the Eagles
well,
had
hold
not
on,
got that
hold on.
turnover, because that turnover happened right there by the goal line, that
It
turnover
did.
was the deciding factor of this game. Point. Case in point.
No, it wasn't.
Well, that and the defense, both
No,
defenses came to play the second half.
I think
Outside of
the
the,
weather
no.
there was
benefited
one.
both defenses a
It
lot
was
more.
actually the second half of the second half.
Well, yeah,
Literally, yeah. What
it
I'm
was
saying
pretty
is that
much
I think that the second break
after.
really helped
Yeah,
the defense
yeah,
Okay,
more than the
so
offense.
yeah.
let's start at the beginning of this charade. The fact that
Jalen Carter.
Jalen Carter picked
Did
on
that
Dak
stupid
Prescott.
ass shit.
Yeah, I mean he did something very stupid, very demoralizing, and he also gave everybody on the Dallas offense and defense ammunition that they as if they needed any extra to come and bring. their game.
Oh yeah.
And
I think that the
because of
biggest
doing that and getting ejected from the game, he now opens up all of Dallas's playbook because they don't have to double team him on the line every freaking play, damn near.
Yeah, it basically
Yeah.
opens up that Dallas can now. It basically said, okay, the most dominant
So,
pass defensive tackle in the league is now out. We can run. Like
so
it just changed the game defensively for the Eagles because
Hmm.
now the first half of this game, you literally have a shootout of points. There was only one. There was only one field goal scored in the second half of the game.
Yeah, it was the opening drive of the second half. Eagles went down, got stopped, kicked a long field goal, and then after that, it was just outside
So
of
then,
the outside of
then,
the
then
uh
the Lions drive back down the
well
field
the
after
Cowboys
a 50-yard run, or the
Cowboy.
Cowboys drive back down the field, a 50-yard run, and then two or three plays later, fumble the ball.
Well, so that
Okay,
that drive actually
and
started with two
and
15-yard penalties against the Eagles. Then they ran it down, and then yeah,
so
then
I'm
they
just
fumbled
saying,
at the goal
I'm just
line.
saying, they get down to the goal line basically off of a 50-yard play, and then 2 to 3 plays later, you fumble the ball.
Yeah,
Okay, now that could have very easily been
the
a
game.
7 point turnover
Oh yeah,
because had Dak Prescott not actually stopped him and made that beautiful foot tackle, mind you, for somebody that's coming back and he's playing a hell of a game after having hamstring surgery last year.
yeah,
Okay, he actually I was that was one of the reasons why I discounted and actually expected um, the Vikings or the Eagles to actually blow this game away. One Super Bowl champs coming in, defending champs. Two, I really didn't expect to see Dak Prescott come back and
all,
be
as mobile as he
the
was.
best
and be
form since he
effective
had since
Yeah,
like
so there
2017
was
and
actually
be
18.
effective after the surgery.
yeah, so
So that was
there,
one
there was
thing
actually there
that
was
was
actually an
really
interview
impressive.
where Dak said that he felt that his mobility wasn't like he still had the same mobility as he had before. So and he
Right,
he, he showed it.
right, but
He came out and showed it.
right, he came and showed. But so now you've got the turnover. Immediately when the turnover happens, you get a weather delay. Okay. So now all of that momentum that the Eagles just got from getting that turnover and stopping that line, that scoring drive
Got
at the
killed.
goal line basically just got wiped out. Okay. Now that also meant that now each team has basically 45 minutes to an hour while they are dealing with this weather delay to go back in, reset,
Reset, replan.
re re
And
replan,
scheme.
and scheme. And they actually came out, and both defenses came out and played with some heart. Okay.
Yeah, yeah.
With that being said,
That
it
second
was
half was
Dallas's game
very
to lose because CeeDee Lamb literally he dropped three game clutching passes. He dropped three of them. Game clutching passes that would have
Oh, it says
absolutely
Dallas.
changed that would have absolutely changed the game. They would have won. They would have upset the Eagles and won. But he dropped three passes. That
I'm
shit
not a
he should have caught.
I'm not a huge post game guy, but if there's one thing that I take away from this, even though it was a loss, this has to be a huge mental victory for the Cowboys, who I
Oh,
think coming into this
absolutely.
season,
Oh
I
yeah,
especially
I expect
especially after all the noise about Micah Parsons leaving and I mean
I expect them. They
people's
actually got in and got pressure in the second half. They didn't do it in the first half. They couldn't do it in the first half.
yeah.
You know,
Like
Dallas got the only sack of the game.
yeah, and it was yeah, and to your point, Shu, as we talked about that Micah Parsons trade earlier, Kenny Clark was in on that sack. He helped finish up that sack. He didn't get the initial
Yes, he
pressure,
did.
so it was
this is
Him and
just a
someone else
huge
carried us back.
mental win
yeah,
for Dallas.
So yeah.
And the bigger thing
So
is to me, this is a
do I see Dallas now coming in a different light because they're going to come? Yes, they lost, but they've got that mental victory of, hey, we made We made the defending Super Bowl champ absolutely have to play and beat us. They didn't just walk over us. We made them beat us, and we
and
had
I
a couple errors. We had a
and
couple errors
and look at who they get to
that
come in, and look at who they get to have come into their building next week.
the Bears.
No, the
Who is it?
Giants.
The Giants. That honestly, if I were to say one game is really gonna be kind of a my sleeper pick for like an upset game would
I
probably be the
absolutely see.
Giants
I
against the
absolutely see.
Cowboys because the fact that look, I'm worried about what the Cowboys O line is gonna look like this year because they no longer
Well,
have
they
one of
held
the
up this
interior
year,
offensive linemen.
or
Yeah, but
they
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 also
held
didn't
up.
have to
They
pass
held.
Jalen Carter this entire game.
No, that's
They quite
true.
literally didn't have to deal with the most dominant defensive tackle probably of the
Um,
last decade, and that
and
really helped them because the real thing is the Eagles don't really have elite edge rushers. They just have a really dominant interior defensive line.
uh, so I'll have to go through with some other games. So um, I'll end up as you just watched me do here in the stream. I went ahead and put a star next to this Chief and Chargers game because that is uh, a broad game. That is
Broadcast game.
no, it's a
No, it's actually being played in Sao Paulo,
yeah,
Sao
Yeah.
Paulo, Brazil.
uh, yeah, Sao Paulo, Brazil. It uh, yeah, it's one of
Kinda.
the
Let's go play on
it's
favela.
yeah, it's one of the overseas game or not well not overseas
Or yeah, it's one of the.
uh
Yeah, it's overseas. Yeah, it's not
international.
really overseas.
There
It's
we go.
a overseas
It's an
game.
international
Inter
matchup.
that's what I was trying. Yeah, that's what they've been calling those
Yeah.
But
the
yeah,
international
it's
matchups.
just
Um,
my
and I
big
know
thing.
I have to remember which week that it is in the future. I have to go and figure out what the other ones are. I do know that the Vikings have two international games in a
Quick,
row.
quick, quick
Um,
reminder.
Ah,
Um, don't scroll over to that, and I want to see who I picked on that again. I don't remember right off the top of my head.
on
I
what?
want to say it was the Chiefs, but
Yeah, it's right here. It's
oh.
tomorrow night's game.
Oh, if you want to catch the
yeah, I
recording,
just
me and
I
him
can't
had
see I
some.
can't see it on.
Yeah,
I
all three of us
can't see
picked
it on that.
all three of us picked the Chiefs on that.
But I think I was
Yeah,
the only
and
one that like.
that's because
I go ahead.
the reason the reason I picked the Chiefs is because of that devastating loss last year. I think they're going to come out and they're going to have a chip on their shoulder and they're going to have something to prove and they're going to come out and they're going to decimate somebody.
Yeah, and I did mention earlier whenever uh, Grayson and I talked about this game that the field there is likely going to be a factor. Um, I know during the Packers game, like earlier that day, it had absolutely dumped, so it didn't help the field any. So the field was not only it was also wet on top of just not being um, great for football. It
Right.
because it is a soccer field. They are made differently. There's a different feel
Okay.
to them. From this was what uh this was like this is how it was like reported. Like they're those professional fields. There's a difference in the turf and just like the way that the cleats react to the
I'll
different
be
styles
back
of
in a
turf.
little, maybe. I
Um,
may or may not be back in a little.
well, let's go ahead and wrap this up. So I have went ahead and marked our
Yeah. So
correct
we all have one
correct
correct prediction for the
guess.
week.
Yep. So again, the plan is next Thursday afternoon before the Thursday night
Okay.
games. Once Kev gets home from work, because I will be off that day, so it'll just be once Kev gets home and is ready to go for a stream, him and I will be hopping on Mech Warrior and making our week two predictions. If you would like to join us on the game, you're more than welcome to. I know you can play it because of it's
I'd
being
love,
on Game Pass. Um,
I'd love to see him on there with us.
but you don't have to. You can just hop in to have the conversation with it. That would be totally fine. Um,
All right, I may or may not have work then, so I'll figure it out.
but like I said,
Ah,
so depending on whether or not, so we could start as early as like 4 o'clock in the afternoon
that's fine.
to we
It'll be somewhere between 4 to 6 o'clock
yeah
I don't think
because
I
Eastern
have
time.
anything important that
yeah
day, so that should
yeah
be good.
yeah because Kev will either get off at 2:30 or anywhere between 2:30 and 4:30 depending on if he has to stay over late.
Uh, Adrian,
So
you have work tomorrow? You have work tomorrow?
no, today was my last day for the week. So
Okay.
I would have already been in bed and asleep
I
if
was
I
gonna
had to
say,
work tomorrow.
Gabe is waiting for me. I don't know if I'm gonna be back or not, but I know he's waiting for me to play something in case you want to go hop in there while I go shower. I may be back on afterwards, but probably not.
Okay. But yeah, so let's go ahead and wrap up. I want to thank you for joining us in this little endeavor here. Because I know
Yeah,
you
I want to.
definitely have dived into uh the football, like especially
I
between
love football,
college
dude. I
and
love
NFL.
football
Like,
so much. I can tell you all that. I can tell you like who the like. If you need like, if we ever do like a draft episode, don't worry, I got you covered.
uh,
I love football, and I used to try to get into it like you do now. But I just to me it got too um, almost gimmicky, political-ish. Like too much. I just seen too many players that want that literally just there for the greed of it, the greed of the money. Um, yes, they're great players, but that doesn't mean that you have to. Your love should be the game, not the money behind it.
Yeah,
In
that's why
my
my
opinion,
dad always. That's why my dad's always. My dad hates the NFL. He doesn't care. He doesn't hate it. He just doesn't like. Gets kind of bored with it. And it's why he doesn't like watching the NBA either. It's just about money. That's why my dad loves college
I,
football. But now college football has. Well, college football had money in it, but now everybody can pay everyone. It's no longer just
yeah. Uh,
the SEC can pay players, and you know what? We'll save that for a later time.
yeah. But
yeah,
Let's
but
just
yeah,
close this out.
again, yeah. I want to thank you for coming in and joining us on this. Um,
Yeah,
we will definitely see y'all. So for those that have been joining Kevin and I on the Mech Warrior streams, the plan is to do another Mech Warrior
about
stream
noonish.
tomorrow.
Between
Oh,
11 and 12 tomorrow.
well, technically not today because it is after midnight, but that's besides the point.
Yeah,
shush.
Um, Aw, let me be a smartass.
Better than a dumbass.
Hey, um,
That's why my mom always calls me a smartass, and that's my go-to response every time.
um, but with that, thank you all for stopping by. Be sure to like, subscribe, ring the bell icon. You'll know when we go live. Um, I did not get the Discord pinned like Kevin normally does. Uh, I haven't.
yeah. And for some reason, I didn't get your notification until literally, you'll see my timestamp when I come in and started messaging. That's when I actually got your
Yeah,
notification. And
and I didn't.
I don't know if it's because I was watching the game or what.
Who knows? Um, but yeah, we are gonna wrap things up here. Thank y'all for stopping
Yeah,
by. And from Two Brothers Gaming, especially now that Kev's here, it was a kind of a solo adventure to start, but he ended up joining in here. From Two Brothers Gaming, deuces.